You're at Gangrene UK. You're joining us for episode 58, and we're back at camp. And I'm joined by Otis, James, and Kane today. And we're going to be talking camp, outside of camp, and some things going on. So, how's it all going, Otis? How are you?
Yeah, all good. Very, very good. Busy, but good.
Yep. James, how about you?
Yeah, all good, mate. Sweating out a bit hot, but we're good apart from that.
So everybody's saying it's really hot, right? It's not up here. I live in the north, like North Pole kind of. I say it's North Pole weather. It's like 18 degrees, but it's cold. What about you, Kane? How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Hot.
Huh? How's the new job going?
All good. Happy.
Nice. So, have we followed much of camp?
When camp?
Wait,
yeah. Caught a lot of recap videos and a lot of press conferences.
Yep. So, think should we? You know what? Before we get into all the ins and outs of camp, there was one thing that I kind of wanted to bring up, which is to do with Tyreek Hill. I mean, we started the last video talking about the Patriots, so we might as well talk about the Dolphins while we're here. And Bart Scott asked Tyreek Hill what was the determining factor between choosing the Jets or the Dolphins in that decision. The response was, Zach Wilson's a dog, but I'd rather play with the most accurate QB in the NFL. Do we think that Tyreek Hill is on drugs, and should the league be testing him? What are your thoughts on it, James?
I think that's already a failed test, mate, so you might as well. But yeah, no, don't agree at all, to be fair. Tua isn't really a threat deep, but yeah, he does compete checkdowns and 10-yard passes quite well. So yeah, I suppose he's accurate.
So I don't know if you saw the video come out, I think it was yesterday or the day before, of Tua throwing a 65-yard through the air bomb to the end zone to Tyreek Hill, who blew through double coverage. I don't think it's the distance. I think it's the fact that he's never had any time to be able to get the composure. But I see what you're saying. I still slightly think that he needs his head checking a bit. Kane, what about you?
I just want to know if Tyreek is referring to Zach as a dog because of recent news.
I mean, it was after all of that happened that this came out, so who knows? we know Zach's a dog. What about you, Kane? Or Stephen?
I think statistically speaking, he's not telling a lie. He was the highest percentage completing quarterback in the NFL last year. I don't necessarily think he's lying about it. I think, yeah, there's some serious context required. If he only throws it 20 yards, he's the most accurate quarterback in the league. And I agree in some respects to his deep accuracy in his arm. I don't necessarily think he can't throw deep. I think he's struggled for time to throw deep, but also I don't think he's been healthy. I think it's fair to say that his hip injury was massive. And maybe it's taken this long to get his legs back under him, and you get your power from your legs. So yeah, I don't know. I suspect that there's a good chunk of that that's going to be rehab from hips and leg injuries and everything else, and he's just going to be possibly a better quarterback this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think me and you both were quite high on Tua when he was at college. We were all tank for Tua if it came to it. But it's one of them where, yeah, I fully agree. I think there's other reasons on it. And it's like when you choose the cherry pick that one stat that makes your team look great. We're great at it. We do it all the time. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of put it out there because it was something that I saw, and it's not very often I read a tweet and copy and paste it into my notes under Gangrene chat, just so I knew, just so I would remember that we talk about it. So then, if we move on, we'll start with the big chat, which obviously is going to involve Mekhi Becton and George Fant. So everybody's turned up to camp. Everybody's doing good. Obviously, Becton started on the PUP list, which people lost their head over. How did you feel about him going on PUP to start?
It's scary one.
I mean, to a lot of people, yeah, I think it was. James?
Yeah, not too. I'm a bit worried, but I suppose it's just precautionary, isn't it? It doesn't really mean anything until it's a couple of weeks down the line and he goes on it, does it? So
What about you boys? Any difference or?
Yeah, not too stressed really. It's a 360 plus pound man trying to test out a knee that he hurt. Yeah, it's just them playing it safe in it and going, let's not break our big man.
Yeah, for me, it was one that I fully expected it. You cannot have a player go out that long, then come back, do all of his own rehab. Now, he has been at the facility every day since OTA's finished, apart from July 4th weekend, he went home. So, yes, the team have been around him, they've assessed him, which is why he's off pup now, I think, isn't he?
Yeah, he was only on it for a day, wasn't
he? Yeah, and it was literally just so the first
so the medical team
could go, yeah, we know you're good, but anybody who's missed a significant amount of time needs to start on pup because you'd be stupid not to.
They had to give him a full medical evaluation, didn't they? So he had to be on pup in order to give him that sort of time to give him the full medical.
So then he comes back and finds out that he's going to be playing right side. Anybody surprised?
As you know, I called this a long time ago to you guys in the chat, so not surprised at all.
Kane looks a little bit surprised or constipated.
I was happy with it, but it was a good surprise that they did it at the start of everything. So it weren't a frigging battle all the way through camp, and then and just go for it.
That's probably a good thing because you don't want them both getting used to left side and then swapping one out. Yeah. I think Mackay's handled it very, very well. I thought his press conference the day that it was announced, I think day 2 of camp, was absolutely spot on. I think the fact that he's not telling anybody his weight is, I don't think the weight is the issue. I think he's probably got about a 30-pound swinging body weight. But when you look at it, he looks trim again. Mm-hmm. And they're saying that he lost a lot of weight from OTAs till now, which was when he was allowed to start training again. Well, we all know if you don't do anything activity-wise, you lose weight. You put on weight. The minute you start doing the activity again, your weight comes off. But the fact that they're not putting the number out there, I think it adjusts the way defensive players are going to have to approach him. Because if they thinking he could be somewhere around 400, they're going to adjust the way they run at him. Where if he's actually 360, they might go, you know what, we can afford to throw a bit of body in that. So not putting his weight out, I think, is a sly little tactic that might pay off in the long run.
I also think it's clever from Salah and the Jets team to protect him. Because if his weight comes out at 380 from some source that the Jets don't control, the Jets can go, yeah, it's fine. We knew, it's fine. If it comes out at 360, they go, yeah, it's fine. If it comes out at 400, they go, yeah, it's fine. If they pin a number on it and then someone says, oh, no, your number's wrong, there's a fucking really big problem. But, yeah. But there's no problem if they don't put a number on it. The other thing as well that was more important, I think, than necessarily even him coming off pup or the number that it may have been on or may not have been on, was Robert Salah saying he's in football shape. I don't care what the man weighs. If the man is in football shape, he can play football. That's it. It doesn't matter how heavy he is. As long as Salah says he's in football shape and he's ready to go out there and play 60 minutes, fine, go for it.
That's what we've been saying though for probably the last 8 months. He is a big man. He's going to weigh a lot because he's a big man. Like, he weighs what he weighs, as long as he's fit and can play. I mean, there was a lot going around. I don't know if anybody saw it about him being fatigued and sweating. And they asked Salah about it, saying, is he out of shape? He went, he's a big man and it's hot. He's going to sweat. He's a big man.
It's Kane knows. Kane's played as well. You put those pads on. I don't care if you weigh 100 pounds or 300, you sweat. Those pads are instant sweat. They're just unbelievable. They don't let your body breathe at all. It's just instant heat all over your body.
So we're now literally where we're sitting now. The pads come out tomorrow. They're still wearing the Guardian caps. James, what are your thoughts on the Guardian caps? Or do you have any opinion on it?
No, I've watched an interview with the NFL head health guy talk about it, and they've supposedly done a load of tests on it, and it does improve it, supposedly 10% on concussions. So if it stops players getting concussions in camp, it's only a good thing, really. So,
yeah. Anybody, any other thoughts on it?
As I sort of said to you when I replied in the group, I think it's a great thing. It protects the players. And I think to Salah's point that he made, that the next time they hit somebody when it's not on, they're going to have a shock because they're going to bang heads and it's going to be like, ow, that really hurt. Coach them better. They're not supposed to use the heads anyway. They're supposed to be there for protection, not to use the heads. So just coach them better. And that's not just Salah. That's not just a dig at the Jets and him saying it. That's everyone. You know, JJ Watt sitting around saying, oh, I'm going to get a shock when I hit my head on someone. You're not supposed to hit your head on someone, JJ. Don't do it.
Yeah, I think the way they were talking, though, it's lulling them in. So because they know they've got the Guardian cap on, they tend to use their head a little bit more than what they would, because they're not trying to avoid the contact. Which
That's
I get,
coaching, right?
Yeah, to a degree. Because when you're in that instant break of it and this ball is snapped, it's very hard to be able to control where all 8-9 men heads are going.
Yeah.
But if they get used to kind of dropping in with it down, I don't know. I can see both sides. I think the health side of it is amazing. I think they should probably look at when they're using it more than and how they're using it.
So I put this to it there. I put it to you like this. The reason they dropped 2-a-day practices was because too many people were getting concussed because of head injuries. If these caps allow them to bring back 2-a-day practices, which then decrease the number of muscle and ligament injuries because their legs and their chests are stronger, and you see less ACLs, are the caps then worth it?
100%. And
because that's got to be an option, right? When we had San Antonio Holmes on and we had Nick Mangold on, and they used to say the reason we didn't get leg injuries back in the day was because we did 2-a-days and we were ready to be hit. If these Guardian caps let them get back to playing 2-a-day, you'll end up with better football players, healthier football players, and in theory, I guess, better football teams.
In theory. It's an interesting one. I think the big tell of whether this has worked or whether there is an issue will be Monday morning after week 1 of preseason. Because that game, first game, where they won't be wearing Guardian caps, but then Tuesday when they're back at camp, the Guardian caps come back on till the end of that week. So if we get, I don't know, 6-7 players go out with concussion that first week, the Guardian caps failed.
Yeah.
Would we agree on that?
Yeah.
James?
If you instantly see a big spike in concussions after they take them off, you've got to say it's fail.
Yeah, absolutely. So anybody want to talk about any position groups in particular?
I think it's worth mentioning wide receivers.
Anybody in particular, or just the group in general?
Been impressed, I guess, with, I'd say, the first 5, right? I think the top 5 on the depth chart have been getting good reports. I don't think there's anyone that's been slated in the top 5 is doing anything wrong yet. I think they're all showing good signs.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I would even go further than the top 5. The wide receiver group has received some love. Anybody you've been excited seeing, Kane?
Wide receivers. Yeah. I sent a video of Corey Davis make a good catch, so hopefully that carries on. I saw Elijah Moore video today, good catch, but they'll only ever show the good catches anyway. But
Yeah.
obviously it makes it for Garrett. Hopefully he can
I
get a
think
good.
the Corey Davis one that you're talking about, is that the toe tap?
Yeah.
Over the shoulder in the end zone.
That was a masterclass in spatial awareness, getting that ball down in a tight window, getting your feet down and getting the score.
Contortion.
If he does that this season, he will be what you promised us last year, Otis.
Yeah, that's what you expect to see from your number one wide receiver, isn't it? Is that big body in the corner of the end zone, taking a hit, taking the ball in still with the concentration. It was impressive to see. The other nice thing that the other day, I can't think what a video I was watching it on. It might even have been one of the press conferences. And they were asked about the wide receivers and how they were doing, and they said that Davis had one drop so far in camp. Moore, I don't think, had dropped a single ball that he had been catchable, and I think the other one might have been Mims, hadn't dropped many, but there was 2 or 3 wide receivers that they said hadn't dropped like more than 1 or 2 balls. It was really, really impressive, the drop rate.
Yeah, I mean, Keyshawn Abram, Calvin Jackson, and I think it's Rashad Davis.
Yeah,
have had really good reports. Now, that's quite interesting because you've got Jackson, who's 5'9", so you're looking probably slot. You got Abram, who's 6'2" and 193, and he's from Kent State, so it's a small school. Could they possibly pop on and maybe start challenging the likes of Jeff Smith for those late spots, or even Mims? I couldn't think of his name. I was looking at his name on the list in front of me, and I still couldn't remember his name. It's just interesting because these guys are producing. Now, we know that Salah's not against keeping a couple of people around that aren't your big names, superstars.
I think there's a lot of positivity around what's going to be on the practice squad and what's going to be knocking around for us to draw on when we need it. I think there's probably 6, isn't there? It's a lock to make the roster. I think there's 6 guys that you expect to be there. Mims is one of them. I think Jeff Smith's another. Then Berrios, Elijah Moore, Davis, and Garrett Wilson. I would say they're the 6, aren't they? And I think after that, there's going to be some guys hanging on.
But like, it's a good situation again that we're in. That these guys are producing,
and a good situation to be able to put them onto the practice squad, and then if somebody does get hurt, let's say heaven forbid Elijah Moore or Garrett Wilson or Davis goes down, you've got a guy that can come in and take the reps that Mims has been getting or whatever.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting development on the wide receiver front, because I think you are right. The 6 are set, but then there's a couple that are on that edge that, I wouldn't be shocked if could make a little bit of a stir. I mean, it would be nice to take an undrafted free agent and make them a superstar. I mean, it happens every now and again. But it'd be interesting. I mean, it's a nice situation again, isn't it? I mean, as we're talking about people getting caught, I'm going to go a little bit off script. I seen an article yesterday regarding His Holiness Mike White. Now,
on the bubble,
do the Jets roll in with a 53-man roster with 3 QBs, or do they release one and then bring them back on the practice squad? But obviously, they have to clear waivers. Do we cut Mike White, or do we roll with 3? And if we cut Mike White, does he clear waivers? Kane, you first. What do we do? Do we roll or cut?
I'd like to cut, but you know, he ain't getting back to us.
Yeah, it's
Won't clear waivers with how dodgy some of the teams' quarterbacks are.
yeah.
Injury prone, I think.
So Otis has obviously got another thing to say because he always gets that grin on his face when he's got a slight argument. What are you thinking on it?
I personally don't think he'd clear waivers if you cut him. I think he's shown enough to have a chance. So with me, the worst could happen. Obviously, we don't want it to happen. Zach could go down. Don't really want Mike White, but it's not the worst option in the world for him to come in.
So the only thing I would say on that is Joe Flacco apparently at the moment in camp is 100 leagues ahead of Mike White, which you would expect, given the fact that he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback. Come on then, Otis. Like, you look like you're going to burst.
If Mike White's the second quarterback on the Jets roster, Joe Flacco's arms fell off. Mike White was a bum in Dallas. He had one good game and everyone declared him God. He'll be on a practice squad somewhere.
I don't rate him at all, but I just think teams are that desperate, then someone will pick him up.
Oh, I agree, but I think someone will pick him up. But I think that's fine for us because we don't need him. And I think when you start looking at like running backs and you start looking at wide receivers and actually I think the big one, you start looking at corner and safety. The depth we've got there, if you go in, all right, do you want to keep Brandon Eccles or Michael Carter or Breece Hall, or do you want to keep Mike White? Let's be honest, it's not even a conversation, is it? We're talking just get on the bus, you're gone. See ya.
And that's it. And I think one of the things was as well that no matter what this year, we have to pay Joe Flacco. I think it's 1.8 mil.
Yeah, he's guaranteed some money, isn't
he? Yeah, or we cut Mike White and he's already been paid, so we don't need it. So it's I don't know. It was an interesting one because obviously last October the world was going insane. Well, November they were going insane for him. I mean, he was God's gift to quarterbacking. And you all know I've never been on board with it. I will pull out as many excuses as I possibly can to explain why he had that good game. But yeah, we're not going to go into that. I just wanted to field the question and see how it came back. So we're talking about that depth. And then we made a little bit of a splash this week. I mean, depends who you ask is who we signed. If you ask Jets Facebook from the US, we signed Alexander Quan, who I think I went to school with. I think he did IT. But yeah, we took Quan Alexander, 28-year-old LSU, 6'1", 227 pound. Have you seen his stats from last year?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
What do we think?
Not as good as it used to be, obviously. I think he's had an injury though, isn't
he? He didn't play the 2 years before that, did he?
Yeah, he's had multiple injuries. His legs basically fall off every so often.
Yeah, so he's had in 2018, I think was a low one. He had 6 games. 2019, 8 games. 2025, 2020 at another team, he done 7. So it's not actually that bad. And then 2021, he played 12. But 2021, when you look at it, he was on point.
I think he made like 3.5 sacks in like 6 games, didn't he? Something like that.
Yeah, 3.5 sacks, 11 assisted tackles, 32 solo. He only started 8 games. He had a pass deflection and an interception, a forced fumble, and then I think he had a recovery as well.
Yeah, I think one of his sacks was on Zach. Actually, I do believe.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It's a good signing, yeah.
You still have to see what you get.
What it is,
Isn't
I didn't even have to look at the screen there, right? Because I could already see the grin on Otis's face. Right now, if anybody is upset by this signing, I think they need the head checking, because there is so much upside on this signing that even if there's a downside, the upside is bigger. So where you sitting, Kane? Is it good or is it bad or is it meh?
Yep.
It's what?
it?
I don't know you, James.
I think everything works out.
Yeah, no, I like it for the potential. Definitely, he is only 28, so maybe he comes back to that old form, and we need linebackers. So I'll take a shot. To be fair,
Right. So Otis, I know we've chatted about this. What are your thoughts on it?
So his first 3 years in Tampa, when he was healthy, he was arguably the best linebacker in the NFL. Certainly very close. He was up there with Mosley. His pass coverage is incredible. His speed is nuts. He does have the issue, a little bit like Odell Beckham Jr. and a few other really, really fast, hyper-athletic players, that his legs do just decide to fall off at any given moment. He's had, I think, 2 ACLs. I think he's had a Achilles as well, potentially. There's been 2 or 3 major leg injuries. For a 27-year-old, the money we've paid him is peanuts. Is almost a vet minimum. But that tells you everything you need to know for me. You don't sign a 27-year-old linebacker that's made a Pro Bowl on a vet minimum if he's going to be a starter and if he's going to contribute massively. I think Kane nailed it the other day. I don't know if he said it on the page or whether it was just in our group, but I know Kane was discussing this with us. He's a great coverage linebacker. And when we know we're in passing downs and you've got to take out Quincy Williams because he can't cover as well, he's a great player to bring in. But that might only be for 20 snaps a game. But that's fine. 20 snaps a game for £1 million off your cap is fine. We'll take that. I think there's a need to be seriously realistic about this. Some people, I think, are thinking they're getting the 2017 Quan Alexander that was the best linebacker in football. And that's just not the case. And I agree, last year his numbers did look okay. But even on last year's numbers, when you extrapolate out, he played in 12, only started 8, but he only had 40 tackles, I think 42 tackles, something like that. So if you extrapolate that up to a 17-game season, he only ends up on about 70 tackles. Well, most middle linebackers nowadays average over 100 if they're any good as a starting linebacker. So he's not, even on last year's stats, they were decent, don't get me wrong, but they were decent for a rotational piece. So I think that's where we got to be sensible.
That's exactly where he was used in New Orleans. Like,
Yeah,
when
you can't touch Demario Davis, can you?
In the middle, you know you don't need to stuff any run. You just have that coverage linebacker who is also all right at stuffing when he needs to. I think the big thing to look at is he's only played 16 games once. His good seasons were 12 games, and last year he finally got back up to 12 games.
And the year before he actually played 12. You were when you read his stats out before. He plays 7 for San Fran, I think it is, and 5 for New Orleans. So the last 2 years he's got 12.
Yeah, he's only had 2 really terrible seasons. I would say 2.
Doesn't he play 2 5s and an 8?
And also one of the 5s is 2020, so you do 5 and 7.
Oh, was it? Sorry.
Yeah. So then he's got an 8-game season.
Oh, and a 6.
Season, which that was the season that he'd done his injury. He came back and just struggled to get back. But all in all, I think it's a good signing. I don't think we can be upset. Mm-hmm. Everybody was asking for a linebacking addition.
Yep.
And we got arguably a potentially amazing one, if not a good one.
Let's be honest. Right now, if you look at the market, he was the best player available. They've gone out. He knows Salah's defense. But even if he only contributes in teaching some of the safeties that are converting how to play this defense, he's worth it because he's played in it before.
Yeah.
If he's only a coach on the field, that's all you need.
It's one of them where I would recommend anybody watch his press conference, his first one.
He's a proper pro, isn't he?
Oh, yeah. But they were like, well, why did you come here? And he was like, well, because I want to. I understand the system. I know what they want from me. I know what I can give them. And then he went, the room and the people just make you want to play. Like, he gets it. Like, I don't think we can ever be upset by a signing like that.
No, agreed.
Then we have a couple more to talk about. We can't do a chat without talking about Brees, can we? Or the running back room in general. James, what have you thought about running backs, or have you not seen much about running backs? Oh,
Have we lost James?
Yeah. Surprise.
Yeah. I'm gonna come back in on my phone.
right, no worries, dude.
No.
Ken, I'll move it over to you while he logs out and logs back in.
Yeah, Brees getting a lot of hype, obviously. Not even like from the team, but from the NFL and from Madden and everywhere. So it's going to be exciting to see him. Obviously, Carter's took his role on happily. He knows he's going to be second, I'm guessing. But he seems happy, like on all the videos I've seen of him and everything, which is cool. So yeah, should be good. I need to thin it down a bit and get rid of some of the market line.
It's like there's only 5 technically aren't listed. We're only going to roll with 3 or 4. That's only because Coleman's on non-football injury.
Okay.
So you've got Michael Carter, Brees Hall, Ty Johnson, Zonovan Knight, LaMichael Pirine, which we're not going to go in who's going to get cut and who's going to make it. Like, it's just a fruitless question that we're always going to just talk the same way. But this, the options that we have with Michael Carter, Brees Hall, and Ty Johnson, we'll go with the 3 that we like, that we know are kind of okay at this point.
Mhm.
Every single one of them signed up at position, which is insane, really.
Yeah.
What's on? Are we going to see it more dynamic, or is it just going to be the normal ground and pound run game, do you think?
I think the reason that Carter's so excited about the situation is the fact that it is going to be more dynamic. I think the reason, and Kane's right, he has accepted his role. But I think the reason for that acceptance is you're going to see a 40-60 split or a 55-45 split. The intention is to do a little bit like what San Fran do, where they have 2 guys, maybe even a third if one shows up, that can just play every game. Because the fresher you keep both of them, the better off you are. The days of being able to pound a running back 30 times in a game and then come back next week and just pound them 30 times again is long gone. If they both see 15 carries each or 18 and 12, you're going to be really happy because that's getting Carter his ball, that's getting Brees his ball. And I think there's going to be weeks where you might see it a 20-10 split, but I think there'll be weeks where it goes the other way, 20-10 as well. I think there's going to be weeks where actually Carter's the lead back, just because that's what it calls for when we're playing. I'm hoping the Jets are going to adjust what they offer based on the opponent.
Well, you would like to think so with the depth that they've got.
Yeah.
I mean, I am very much excited to see what Zonovan can do.
I think he'll be a practice squad guy. I'm not sure he'll make the team, to be honest, but that's, you know.
I've got a feeling he'll be number 4.
It's whether they carry 4's the problem, isn't it? I'm not sure.
The last 2 seasons we've carried 4.
Yes, but we've not had a feature back the last 2 seasons. If Brees Hall's everything that everyone's saying he is, and he's the first round running back that should have gone in the first round, you don't need to carry 3 backups. Why would you carry 3 backups if that guy is the guy? Derrick Henry doesn't have 3 backups, does he?
But he also doesn't have 2 working knees. I would like to see him make the team, purely for the fact that I think it was an absolute travesty that he never got drafted. And I just think it's because of the value of the running back position.
Oh, it is devalued huge, isn't it?
But I just want it so we can get a T-shirt with Knight Rider wrote on it. But no, I'm excited to see what Bam can do. Hopefully, it'll be something that'll mix it up a little bit. But I can see Ted Coleman being the cut, probably one of the last cuts.
Yeah,
He's just around for veteran presence at the minute, I think.
yeah, and I don't like the veteran presence you want to keep is winning veteran presence, and I'm not sure Coleman's that guy. Without sounding terrible, I don't think he's the winner that you need to be around the young guys.
But he's also, it's more, I think, the history of working in that system, understanding what is actually required. He might not be the best at it, but he understands it.
Yeah, but then Carter should know that by now. He's been there a year. He should be the guy leading the charge, right?
You would hope. But I suppose we'll find out more in week 2 of camp. Anybody got anything else from camp before we sign off?
I'd just like to say I'm impressed with that segue.
Cheers.
Segue.
Just a thing that Source was joint first on field most days with Zach. That was reported. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, he seems to have a good work ethic. And have you seen all the videos of him signing with the kids and that?
Yeah, been awesome, hasn't it? The rookies have taken a lot of time to sign. Well, all of them have, to be fair, but the rookies in particular. Source was there ages the other day with Garrett Wilson, I think it was.
Yeah, apparently they stayed nearly an hour after practice signing for people. And they made sure that every single person got at least one auto, which is cool.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Showing the type of personality that Salah wants, right? And JD wants. Love football, love the boys, love the fans.
That's what a lot of people are saying. I seen an interview with Coach Boyer, and they said to him, "What is it?" And he went, "This building is full of absolutely awesome people."
Yeah.
He went,
Awesome people that love football.
"Yeah, they love football. They're awesome people, and they give 110." He went, "What more do you need?" And I mean, imagine what some of the comments were like at the bottom, but most of them weren't new uniforms, which, we won't get into. But thanks for joining us, guys. Give us a like, a share, a follow, subscribe. Allegedly, if you subscribe, you get 10 years good luck. So it tells me on every freaking video I watch. But we'll catch you.
True.